Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenu, Dave Crossan with you here in hour number 2 of the show. And Dave, we've said it before, we'll say it again. Time to relax, do what Alyssa Nico told us last week, and breathe.
Yes.
And then now
Deep
testify
breathing, yes.
to the body, mind, and soul of finances. And like you did last week, the John Denver style, take us down that financial road.
Yes, my friend. Thank you.
Time for the financial wake-up call.
Thank you. Yes. Get your coffee, do your deep breathing. Focus.
There we go. You breathe in, breathe out.
There it is. Just like
we want you
that.
all relaxed out there.
All right. Well, you know what, my friend?
What's
I'm
that?
Going to call an estate planning audible.
Oh.
A little change
okay.
up.
All right.
A redirect. So, okay. With estate planning,
right,
there are certain things to follow, okay? Certain documents, if you will, that clearly outlines if something happens to you, where your assets are to go. And then also it names an executor in there, the person or the financial institution or attorney that will do the proper distributions.
Right.
Sounds simple enough. Okay, there you go. On a previous show, we talked about if there is an account that has a beneficiary designation, well, you don't need the will. For example, let's say I have a brokerage account,
okay,
and I have TOD, transfer on death, to you, Vin. Something happens to me, it's coming to you.
All right.
There you go. And it clearly identifies if I pass away, that money goes to you. Or a different example, let's say I have a joint account, joint with rights or survivorship. We have a joint account together. I pass away, that money goes to you. So you're probably saying, well, David or Dave, either one works here. Why wouldn't I, on all of my accounts, just simply name a beneficiary so I wouldn't have to go through probate and go to the will to figure out where my assets go? Why don't you just clearly identify it in every account?
Yeah, why not?
And call it a day.
All right.
Sounds simple enough.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, that's the way to do it. Time for that audible, buddy.
Uh-oh.
A little change up, a little misdirection, if you will.
Oh, here we go.
There are going to be times where it is not a good idea to name a direct beneficiary, okay? Now, again, I'm not an attorney.
Right.
I'm not an estate planning attorney, so you always want to lean on one. This is going to be a general conversation. I'm going to give you just a couple examples where it is not a good idea for somebody to be named as a direct beneficiary. And notice I added a note as I'm talking because I actually thought of one other example.
Got the engines burning this morning.
Okay. So when you have a situation where if somebody receives money directly, it could disqualify them from maybe some federal or state benefits that they're receiving.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to give a couple examples.
Okay.
So let's say I'm leaving money to a child that has special needs.
Okay.
Okay, and they are receiving federal and state funding, certain benefits, if you will, that go to them. But I decide to name them as a direct beneficiary on an account. That in itself could disqualify or lessen their benefits.
Oh.
Or it could be utilized to pay for benefits already paid out.
Interesting.
So if there is, and I'm going to use this example, let's say I wanted to leave money to a child that has special needs.
Right.
Rather than me leaving it to them directly, to them personally as a direct beneficiary, I may have set up in my will a special needs trust that when I pass away gets established, that money goes in there for the benefit of that child. And again, without going into all the specifics and financial impacts that would have, there are ways to set up a special needs trust at my passing that would be language in my will that could be used to benefit the child and not disqualify them from the benefits that they have. Now, again, this is a conversation to have with an estate planning attorney to set up somebody who specializes in that direction. Another example, let's say I wanted to leave money to one of my children that is just terrible with money. I know when I pass away, this child's going to go buy that Corvette, spend the money, go on cruises, go through all that money like a finger snap. But yet my other children are good with money, okay? So I don't have to worry about them.
Yeah,
but I
responsible.
worry about this one child. If I give it to him directly, forget about it. That money's it's not going to be utilized in the way that I would have liked. They're going to go through it.
Right.
So in a will, you can actually have set up that what is called a Spendthrift Trust is established. So what I would do is the benefit, that amount of money that would go to that one child that's bad with money, instead, I would want it to go through the will, not be directly given to that individual, that child. And that trust would have language that that child would get money, say, in payments over a period of time. And then there would be a trustee that would do the distributions, setting it up that way. And for a lot of parents, think about it. You've worked your whole life. You've done a great job for your lifetime and your spouse. And now the last thing you want to see happen is one of your children gets that money and just makes bad decisions or goes through it or, like I said, buys expensive cars, doesn't do the right thing. In a will, you can have what is called this Spendthrift Trust that will set up a plan, if you will, on how that money should be paid. In some cases, it could be like annuity payments over a period of time that they're not getting the bulk money, the lump sum. So again, another way to look at it as, hey, I want to make sure my child is going to be okay and not make bad decisions, so I'm going to set it up. And it's a terrible term, or I should say phrase, but it's what they call control from the grave, meaning I've passed away, but I still want to control how that money is paid out.
Makes sense.
Again, going through the will, having that provision in there, that there is what is called a Spendthrift Trust to pay the money out over a period of time. And again, there are other ways you can accomplish this, but the reason why I'm bringing this up in this situation where you wouldn't want to pay the money directly to this individual is because once that's done and it's the person receives it, they can do whatever they want. This way, we do it over time, do it over payments. You know, maybe a little bit of a lump sum and then payments, however you want to set it up. Again, with your estate planning attorney, you would have that conversation to make that happen. One last one.
Okay.
This is a big one. Let's say there is somebody who qualifies for Medicaid, that they have to have a limited income and a limited amount of assets that they have to qualify. Okay? And I go ahead and I leave directly to this person X amount of dollars. Well, here we go. That could, number one, disqualify this person from their benefits. Number two, there is called Medicaid Recapture, where, again, I'll make up a number. Let's say this individual that qualified for Medicaid had received $50,000 in payments over a period of time.
Okay.
And I leave this individual $50,000. Well, guess what? Theoretically, that Medicaid Recapture could take that money to compensate for all of those payments.
Oh.
See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So one thing with estate planning, and I tell this to people all the time, write out the different items that are important to you and also take into consideration the people that are receiving the money. Number one, and this is a big one, Vin, what is the relationship to you?
Right.
The reason I ask that, or bring that up, I should say, is depending on the relationship will determine if there's what is called the New Jersey inheritance tax, if there's an additional tax.
Okay.
If you left it, say, Vin, to your child, there wouldn't be that inheritance tax. But let's say you left money to your niece and nephew, yeah, there would be a significant inheritance tax. So you want to list out who's getting the money. Number two, these special situations. And what I mean by that is are any of these beneficiaries getting benefits from the state or federal government that giving them money outright could disqualify them, which would be huge.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And also put them in a position that that money could be recaptured from the source. And the last one, and I think this is so important, is to really take a good look at who is receiving the money, not just for the relationship for possible tax issues with inheritance tax,
Right.
but how are they going to handle that money? And if you do recognize any individual, one of your children, doesn't matter who it would go to, if they're going to be bad with money that you feel you want to control it, you can do that. And that's why I said by naming it directly or giving that money directly to the person. Once that's done, you can't go backwards. In
Makes
this
sense.
case, you can control it. So when you go to see that attorney, that estate planning attorney, itemize the different situations and how you want it to be done. And the best part about estate planning is you can really set up a plan that's unique to you. It's not cookie cutter.
Right.
It's not
right.
like, okay. And it's funny, a lot of people I speak to, they just think that that's it. They pass away, whatever money they have goes to the beneficiaries, and that's the end of it. They don't realize how much control they have. Again, I hate to use the phrase control from the grave, but you know what? You can control it.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah, you can control it. You've worked so hard for this money. Why not put yourself in a position to do that? And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is on previous shows we talked about the benefit, if you will, or the ease of simply just naming a direct beneficiary. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you have special, unique situations like what we just talked about, and these are only a few examples, there are many others, that it may make more sense for those assets, for that individual, to go through the will so it could pick up the language of how you want these distributions to be done. Did
And
you like
there
that
it
little
is.
ending? Did you like that?
I like the way you brought it in.
I'm landing the plane, buddy. We took off, went for a little, I don't know, we went somewhere, and then...
Just flying around the shore.
Exactly. Went around a little bit, and now we've landed the plane.
Excellent.
And there it is.
Now,
There it is.
boom, there it is.
There it is, buddy.
Well, Dave, thanks as always for your financial wake-up call, as always. But people can reach the show, shorttime@townsquaremedia.com, and they have, but where can they reach you at Shoreline Wealth Management?
Shorelinewealth.com.
There we go.
On there,
All right.
look at different articles and videos and different ways that we can help individuals with their investment, retirement needs. Also, please go to, or you could call me. I pick up a phone.
Call Dave.
Pick up the phone. Give us a call. 732-902-7880. And we are located in Manchester and Manahawkin.
There we go.
There it is.
There we go. Plenty of locations, plenty of time. Call Dave, reach out, and he'll guide you on that financial journey.
Thank you, my friend.
Boom, there it is. All right, we got a fun guest coming up, a great guest coming up in just a few minutes. John Roth, who is the founder and president of an organization in Ocean County known as Recalibrate. He'll be joining us. He served in the Marine Corps from 2007 to 18. We'll get into everything he did and what he's doing now to help military men and women transition back to civilian life here in Ocean County and New Jersey. So it'll be Short Time with Vin and Dave and John Roth next. This information is not intended to be a substitute for individualized legal advice. Please consult your legal advisor regarding your specific situation.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA, SIPC.
Whether you are in the early stages of investing, getting ready to retire, or planning your estate, you need a financial planner who will guide you on a clear path with honesty and transparency. Shoreline Wealth Management provides clarity through the complexity. Shoreline's system is straightforward. They will understand your financial circumstances, identify goals, analyze current plans, and customize a path to position you to reach your goals. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shorelinewealth.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenu, Dave Crossan with you here in hour number 2 on the final show of April. And with us is a very special friend of the station of mine who is John Roth, the founder and president of the Ocean County-based nonprofit Recalibrate, which helps military men and women transition to civilian life here at home. John Roth served with the U.S. Marine Corps from 07 to 18 and was also the chair of the New Jersey Veterans of Foreign Wars PTSD Mental Health Advisory Board chair in 2019 and 20. And he's also a Jackson Township police officer, so serving the Jackson Township Ocean County community in more than one way. So, John, thanks for coming into the station today.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
So we were talking before we got on air. You were here at the station back in 2018 when you first formed Recalibrate, kind of in the infancy stages then of what you were doing, what you were hoping to accomplish and help out with everybody. So in the last few years, how have things developed for Recalibrate, and how has it grown?
Since the last time I was here, it's grown tenfold. Our mission changed just a little bit, slightly, which I knew that was going to happen. Not only do we help military veterans, we help first responders as well. That just is natural because a lot of us that are on our board or who we help are first responders. And you see the similarities and the struggles and connections. So our mission statement is connecting veterans and first responders through physical fitness, such as CrossFit, yoga, surfing, hiking. And we do that as well with our peer groups, our monthly peer groups that we have right here in Toms River, actually.
So how many people are involved? I guess either military men and women or first responders. That come to Recalibrate for any number of services. How many people are out there that you're working with right now?
That number goes up and down.
Okay,
depends month to month. It's not something that we track, and that's another thing for if anyone's interested in coming to the group. There's no names that are tracked. There's no receipts. There's nothing that can say that you're coming out for help. I mean, it's all confidential.
Right.
But we have our workouts. Some people choose not to do the workouts. Some people choose just to come to the peer groups. Some people are interested in yoga. We do yoga. We do hikes. We've had a surfing event. We're actually having one in August.
Okay.
That's cool.
There we go.
Finally,
Like
but we teamed up with another nonprofit in LBI, and they reached out to us, and so we're going to be getting guys in the water again. But yeah, we really don't track numbers and stuff like that. That's not something that we do, but it depends month to month. Once the weather starts getting warmer, you see less guys come to some meetings.
Sure.
Understandable.
Sure.
Sun's out longer.
Yeah.
Wintertime, we have a lot more guys come in. For the last couple of years, you can see how that comes and goes like that.
So do you have a lot of the services where, for anybody coming back home, either somewhat recently or maybe a couple of years afterward, that they're looking for counseling, looking for somebody to talk to about their experience, about transitioning back home, especially anybody who is having any case of PTSD?
Yeah, we get a lot of referrals, shockingly, through social media.
Okay.
We'll get family members or friends saying, or co-workers, hey, I had this guy, so-and-so. He's coming back. He's made some statements that he's struggling a little bit, connecting with guys and understanding. And it's kind of cool that they'll message us. So we tell them, hey, come to our peer group, come to a workout. If they want to check us out on social media and see what we're about before, because naturally people don't want to just jump into something like the unknown.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So especially when it comes to connecting mental health stuff, it's just let them check that out first. And usually we'll get a message. And we have been getting messages probably the last several years for that, since we started.
Okay.
And we just go from there. So PTSD, we don't even ask for a diagnosis or anything like that, but we just say, hey, come connect with us.
Sure.
Share your story if you need to, or just listen, because not talking is just as helpful as just listening to other people and struggles and stuff. And I know it's unfamiliar territory when you're in a room full of people and guys and girls, just like talking about a topic or whatever the case is. But if we do see stuff, and we will recommend higher diagnosis or anything because we're not counselors or clinicians or anything like that, but we do work well with the Phoenix program out of Ocean Mental Health.
Okay.
A lot of us are mentors for a program that they have set up just for that. Guys that are seeking more mental health appointments or need structure, more or less. That's what a lot of guys are.
Yeah.
So it's a good program that they have. It's called the Phoenix program through Ocean Mental Health. And we just get guys through there, and we go, all right, maybe you should refer them to that. They don't have to take it. It's optional to go in, and then optional to leave whenever they want.
How did you manage through with the pandemic? I mean, think about that challenge and what you're doing and what you're providing.
The pandemic threw a little curveball, obviously, for everybody.
Sure.
But our peer-to-peer group, our workouts, they're all in person. The web-based stuff, the Zooms, it was good for the first month maybe, but how many times have guys you just zone out? You're like another Zoom. Everything was Zoom based.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was good to help guys uplift. Unfortunately, we did lose a board member to suicide. He killed himself. Rory Hamill, awesome guy, big influence in the community, the veteran community, and law enforcement. Just went and spoke about his story. That was his outlet. COVID shut everything down, so. Yeah, I'm sorry to go off on that, but this is part of the
right. It's all part
what we
of
had to go through. A lot of things kept coming our way, and we just struggle after struggle, and thank God we have a good group of guys that just stuck together and said, hey, we're gonna beat this, and there is a mission that we're gonna stick to, and we did. We held the Zooms until we can no longer do them. So once that kind of broke, we went back in person. We were doing them at Mental Health Association, but they had strict rules with the COVID stuff.
Right.
So we reached out to the VFWs, and the VFW here in Toms River allowed us to use their facility to host our meetings, and that's what we still have.
That's awesome.
During the pandemic, we actually hosted our first retreat, at-home retreat, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
We had 8 veterans, and from all branches, male, female, and we had 2 beach houses in LBI. We did surfing, skydiving, journaling, did some physical fitness, get these guys some yoga, and all in like 2.5 days.
Okay.
But it was good that they got to experience stuff that maybe they never did before, and some struggles and some deep conversation they had. That we brought a guy, Bill Antes. He has a company from up north called Between the Ears. He's a former Green Beret.
Okay.
But what he does is awesome with these guys and girls, and I love his stuff. So that was a cool thing that we did during the pandemic, was have a retreat, and a lot of guys still talk about that to this day. We're looking to do one in the near future. Again, we're still trying to recalibrate ourselves, and organize and stuff, but we're looking forward to hosting another one as well.
So do you find that those retreats have that balance of being able to sit with peers and talk about any variety of topics, as well as having a little bit of fun?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the whole purpose, is having them do stuff, and then also being in the mindset that they're comfortable to talk about whatever they feel like. You have that shared experience now, not only in the military or the first responders, but you are now going through something with somebody, some physical fitness, or you're doing something. People have never been in the ocean. We had guys in the ocean. We had girls, they never rode a wave before, and they rode a wave on a surfboard, and that was cool.
That's cool.
There you
Or
go.
they had a fear of the ocean, which so after you go through something like that, that shared experience, then it's easier to break bread and talk with people.
How do you do riding the waves?
I could use some help, but I like being out there, though.
There you go.
Yeah, this year that's my goal, is to be out there more often.
Nice. You we're speaking with John Roth this morning, the founder and president of Recalibrate. John, you were a sergeant. You were rose to the rank of sergeant and served in Afghanistan and Iraq, correct?
Correct.
Did you find that when you came back home, that there were a lot of challenges in making that adjustment back home, and eventually, joining the police force with Jackson?
Yeah. My story is not like really anybody else's, but it is similar to a lot of people.
Sure.
I came back. Luckily enough, I was already working in Seaside Heights as a Class 2. I already went through the police academy.
Okay.
So I went right back into working. I started living over there, not knowing I was still in my early 20s. But looking back, I can definitely look back, and I could have done things differently. I could have acted differently if I knew what was. I just thought that was me being a 20-year-old living on his own and stuff.
Sure.
But were there struggles? Yeah, some personality things that I probably didn't click with some people emotionally and stuff like that. I think I could have done things better for myself. But it was a little bit at first. But then there's things that got kind of clouded that, or just masked that for years, until I actually realized what the hell happened, and I have to address them myself. So, but getting back into work, I was lucky enough to do that, and working in Seaside, then going into the sheriff's department, and then where I'm at now in Jackson. It took time, though, to realize what was going on.
How were you able to kind of get through those years? Were there any people in your life who helped guide you along, and who were there for you at the very least as like a listening ear?
Yeah, I think that was happening naturally, which that's why it's formed now. It's a thing. But I had people that I would always reach out to. I have a cousin that I consider my older brother, law enforcement, Marine Corps as well. I always reach out to him. I have family, some close friends. So that's where we kind of came up with the tagline, actually, these bracelets I have for you guys.
Which are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Find your fire team. Yeah. So I think more or less people do find what they're looking for is guidance.
Sure.
And people to pull them through tough times.
Yeah.
So our tagline is find your fire team. essentially is finding guys and girls that are going to form your fire team to pull you through life, our now mission's life.
Yeah.
Whether it be marriage, could be physical fitness, mental stuff. If you're trying to do something in education, you have to have all these people to pull you through, because when you do hit rock bottom or you start falling down, you can reach out to these people for guidance, and they can pull you through either life guidance, just general day-to-day stuff.
Sure.
And that's important. I think people don't have those outlets all the time, and it's not as easy for everybody to say, hey, I need somebody to help me get back in the gym, or hey, I'm struggling through this. Can I talk to you? Yeah. Just a shoulder, just someone to talk to, And I think that's part of your fire team. Your fire team in the military, it's a group of 4 to 5 guys that each have a mission or each have a job to complete the full mission. So we kind of put that into civilian life. But yeah, I was lucky enough to have people to talk to and vent to at times, and now it's set up so anybody can have it. And if you don't have one, we do have a group of guys and girls that maybe not everyone you have to talk to, but there could be one or two that you can definitely seek out.
I think it's so important. Dave, I just wanted to mention, because I think of the last couple of shows, and we're having this type of conversation, the ability to be able to open up, people with similar circumstances to be able to reach out and feel comfortable, where some people may not know what to do or how to do it or what to say or start the conversation.
Yeah, that's half the battle right there, is feeling comfortable talking about it. Hopefully through our actions and what we do and other nonprofits that we work with, it'll make it easier for guys to come out and talk. And we're finding that difficult in the law enforcement world. I feel like we're behind the 8 ball in that.
Sure.
I teach the resiliency program. I'm part of that instructors that teach all the law enforcement agencies in Ocean County for resiliency. But we're seeing it's difficult when it comes to your career and talking about that stuff. But like for anybody else in the civilian world, maybe they don't have that issue of, hey, if I do talk about this, I'm not afraid of losing my career or job. It's not in jeopardy. But I mean, we are making strides, and both guys are talking, and there are programs set up for that reason.
John, Dave and I have to head to a break, but we want to dive more into Recalibrate and certainly military men and women and the police force as well. Can you hang with us?
Yeah, not a problem.
Awesome.
Excellent.
More Short Time with Vin and Dave and John Roth right after this.
Hey, it's Chris Carlin from Rutgers Football and 98.7 ESPN in New York, and you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. These fellas are entertaining.
Let's face it, investment concepts and financial planning can be very intimidating and confusing. Shoreline Wealth Management addresses that feeling head on. Their goal is to educate you while offering financial advice without buzzwords and jargon. Shoreline includes you in the process and makes you comfortable every step of the way. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information and start your financial journey with comfort and security today. Shoreline Wealth Management, with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Ebenu, Dave Crossan with you, and with us this morning is the founder and president of Recalibrate, a nonprofit based here in Ocean County, helping military men and women transition back to civilian life and first responders in our local communities as well. John, I know you were in the Marine Corps from 2007 to 18, rising to the rank of sergeant, serving in Afghanistan and Iraq. But towards the end of the journey, you mentioned in the first segment that you were Class 2 in Seaside, and now for the last few years have been a police officer with Jackson Township. So I know that's something that's part of your journey. So I want to get your take on this here as we get going, that sometimes men and women in the military, when they return home, want to sort of continue on that public safety, public service sort of path and enter into law enforcement, enter into police departments. So what went into that decision for you? What were some of the reasons that you wanted to continue after your military career with law enforcement and being a police officer? And is that something you have found either through Recalibrate or others, that a lot of other people are doing that as well?
Yeah, I think the first thing was I needed a job. Employment was good, so I was like, all right, well,
sure.
I didn't want to really start anything else.
Sure.
I knew the career pays well, but I like being there. I like being on not sitting on the sidelines for anything.
Sure.
Really, I
Yeah.
like to be in the mix
Makes
if I can. I like to be involved or any way I can help and solve a problem or bad situation if I can. So that transition was kind of easy. It was just natural. I was doing it right after high school.
Okay.
I was class 1, like you said, class 2, went to the academy, and then I decided, you know what, there's going to be this break because where I applied to, they didn't say I had life experience. That was the only thing that they held back. Like, well, you don't have life experience. I'm 18 years old.
Right.
They're like, what is life
We all hear
experience?
that coming out of high school and
Seriously.
college. We want you to have 5 years of experience. I'm 22 years old. I don't have that kind of job experience.
So you can't make that up. You can't go
Right,
to a
exactly.
class and get that. So that was this awesome window for me to fulfill something I've always wanted to do. And I had the opportunity and I ran with it. I just went into the Marine Corps, did the reserves. So I was still drilling
Okay.
and then still working in Seaside Heights, got deployed, and then came back working. I just always felt like that's something I always wanted to do before the military. So coming out after my deployment, I was still drilling because I was still in contract, but also still trying to pursue my full-time employment. And eventually I did get that with the Ocean County Sheriff's Department.
Do you find that a lot of other people as well are sort of making that transition in anybody who's come to Recalibrate or anybody you served with or just in generally speaking who are either continuing like you did with law enforcement or, you know, when they're done serving with the military and they want to enter a police department, work as a police officer somewhere? Do you feel that that's something that's common with making a transition?
That's depends on the individual.
Sure.
A lot of people come back, and if they have severe issues and stuff like that, which will probably most likely disqualify them to be in law enforcement. But yeah, we do get guys that come and ask and inquire about how do we go about this. I just got back from my deployment. I'm done with my contract. I'm checking out, and I want to pursue a career, and we can guide them. There's so many of us that are there at the meetings or workouts that can point them in the right direction when it comes to civil service or if it's a chief's town, or
Right.
if they want to get in the fire. We know people that can, hey, go see so-and-so, or do you have a resume? We can get their resume made up for them, help them out with that as well. But yeah, we not as much now as the years have gone past, like less and less, but we do have those guys that come out and want to pursue a career in law enforcement.
Do you find that it could be a challenge for and the rest of first responders as well? So you mentioned firefighter, police, EMT, and so on and so forth, that it could be a struggle maybe mentally or emotionally making that transition, if not immediately at some point down the line. And is that something that you could help people with Recalibrate if that happens? I
don't think it's a good or bad. I think more or less good. They've been through more or less struggles. They've had pressure when it comes to the job, and wherever that experience they've gone through can translate into good into the public service. Yeah. So I think that's more or less the good part. Everyone looks at anything else like PTSD or PTS is now what they're calling. It's not treatable or whatever. But as long as you maintain your seeking help and you're doing things, yeah, you can pull through, and that's what we're here for. The resiliency program, it's getting guys to show them outlets that they can have this long career instead of having a shorter career with a high intense, stressful job. Now you can do this job longer and still be just as efficient. And I think that's where we feel for the veterans with Recalibrate. Come to the peer groups, workouts, hike, yoga. You don't have to have anything severe, but
right.
It's going to help you. It's going to help longevity within your career, and also with your family too. That's another aspect. But
no, yeah, it was a couple of follow-ups to that, because I know you mentioned earlier with doing the retreats and having somebody to talk to and being there for somebody. Is there anything with Recalibrate or where there's like always that one or two people or that group of people that you call them or you show up to Recalibrate and they're there, say, hey, I'm having a little bit of trouble today, or I'm dealing with some stuff and I need somebody to talk to, that there's somebody that they can go to, sort of like a counselor or something like that, where they could, just sit down for a half hour, whatever it is, and kind of talk about something. Maybe it's something that happened years ago.
Yeah. Usually it's the same core group of guys that do go to the groups, and week after or month after month, you start seeing the same faces. You get familiar with the people. It's up to that individual to come and seek that if they feel comfortable.
Right.
And that's part of you. If you come into a group and you have a shared experience, or you tell your story or whatever the topic is, and someone else isn't talking, but they're listening. And that's the importance of listening. Maybe they're seeking out someone that they're looking for that's similar or comfortable that they want to open up to. And that's when you start finding those relationships branching off, like sidebar conversations after the meetings when we have like breaking up. That's another meeting in itself. And I find that to be naturally just it's just naturally forming, almost like, hey, I heard what you were talking about before. Can I talk to you for a second? And and that's what happens. These conversations just branch off. Phone numbers get exchanged, and then that's how those relationships and bonds form just naturally right there. So, we don't have anybody just for that.
Okay.
We do have the Phoenix program with Ocean Mental Health.
Yeah.
They have a great program that we refer them to. And then, like I said, a few of us are mentors for that program to have, hey, you always have our phone number. You have a way to contact us, or if not that person, another mentor to reach out to any time of the day. Yeah. So.
What would your message be to either, active military veterans, first responders in our Ocean County community or beyond, who are either looking for kind of some like-minded individuals to be with and to do some fun stuff with, like you mentioned, or just kind of be there to either talk about some of the highs and lows in their own lives, and or even just be there for somebody, kind of like, wanting to give back and say, I want to be there for somebody like somebody was there for me. What would you say to somebody out there who's, who wants to either get involved or who wants to find people, like them that they can go and talk to?
I would say just have an open mind. A lot of veterans and first responders are closed-minded when it comes to a lot of things, including myself. When it comes to yoga, it's hard to get grown men to do yoga. Right? That's a struggle in itself, but the benefits of yoga when we talk about it and you share that experience with them. Journaling, meditation, besides all the fun stuff like we do, workouts and stuff, that stuff's, I think, easy for me, but some might be struggle for someone else. But having an open mind, that can open up so many more barriers. And if you really want to get help, that's the way to do it, is be open-minded and try things that you never maybe thought about. Because if you're continuing down the same path and you're doing the same things, something needs to change.
Sure.
So might as well try yoga, try journaling, try reading something that might benefit you. But they can come out anytime to any of our peer groups that we have once a month, like downtown Toms River, the VFW. We hold them the third Wednesday of every month at 7 o'clock. It's there. Come seek us out. They can write us through social media. They can find us on Facebook or Instagram. Instagram's Recalibrate_USA. It's just the way to reach out to us. A lot of people do want to say, hey, I want to help out. Just come show your support. Just be there for someone that may need it. And no one knows what everyone's struggling or what they have, their issues are.
Sure.
So just being there, be like, oh, you're here to better yourself. All right, you're here to have a peer group. Okay. You're here to have a workout. Okay. Like, no one asks. There's no questions like that. Right. So coming out in itself, just being there for someone, that's huge in itself. But if someone has an idea or whatever, Recalibrate isn't just a nonprofit for like one person's nonprofit. It's not just John Roth's nonprofit or Dan's nonprofit. It's a platform that in my head is a platform for all veterans and first responders. Use that to do whatever you think can benefit the veteran first responder community. So we've been building this right now for what it is. And if someone has an idea, we can link up with them and run with it.
I think it's so healthy. I mean, talk about yoga. I've never done it, but but I'm being serious here. That's a great way for somebody that, never would have thought about doing it, and then maybe gets into it, and it becomes a great way to get rid of stress and just overall body and mind, as we've been speaking about.
Yeah, loosen up on a couple fronts.
Oh, yeah.
Relaxing.
Yeah.
One of my
Meditation is another.
Yeah, my sister Lori's encouraged me to do it because it works for her. You just kind of relaxing. I've even done some of it on and off over the years at the gym. It kind of, when you're this tall, you kind of get those back issues and stuff. But you know what? It's relaxing on the physical front, but I think on the emotional front too. So I would endorse yoga. Yeah.
Flexibility, I guess,
that
comes
too.
with it.
Mobility. We're in a society just go.
Right.
How many times do we get an hour to kind of just focus on yourself? You're on the mat, and it's awesome. They see us when people see us do it, then more people reach out. So you actually have to do it in order and show people that, hey, this is working. I'm doing this. Why don't you come out? It's easier to tell people to go do yoga, but they don't see anyone doing yoga.
Right.
But if you make that,
You
I'm sorry.
kind of see that person doing it, like, all right, I'll give it a shot.
All right, like there's a reason why that person's a little bit better at that, like feeling better about this, and they talk about it. Oh, I feel better with my hips, or I feel better with my shoulders. Mentally, I feel clarity.
Or they're
right?
meeting somebody that felt the same way.
Yes.
But now it's like, okay, you know what? Hey, I'm going to give it a shot.
Like a nutritionist, like it's the same thing. Like, I want to eat better, I want to feel better, I want to look better, and you go to those people for that reason. You understand that there's all this stuff that goes into it. So.
What are some of the, because I want to touch on the first responders front again with this as well. Obviously you as a police officer, but what do you think some of the challenges are nowadays, either for people who have been in active military or had served in the military in any branch and is now in the role of a police officer, firefighter, EMT, nurse, doctor, and so on and so forth, kind of facing in I'll say in society with how people can perceive them, either on social media or otherwise. And police officers in particular have certainly borne the brunt of a lot of criticism, broadly, nationwide, statewide, whatever. So what are some of the ways that you have personally dealt with that, and what would you recommend to any other first responder out there, especially those who had served in the military and are now kind of undergoing any kind of criticism with trying not to let it trigger any kind of past emotion or past experience that maybe they saw or heard something while serving overseas?
Yeah, that's a big thing nowadays when it's social media.
Yeah.
Luckily, if you're not on social media, you don't have to look at that stuff.
It's sometimes better to unplug.
Right. Oh, 100%. And we'll put that message out there once in a while. My buddy Dan and I that run our social media will talk to each other if January 6th or the withdrawal of Afghanistan. Hey, put it out there. Stay away from social media. Turn off the TV. It's not healthy for your brain.
Right.
Whatever you're digesting, if you're having thoughts of whatever the case might be, or you're getting angry, just turn it off. I mean, it's a different time and era now that everything's quick and we can see it live. So that's my message to that, and I do it as well. I don't even watch the news at home. It's never even on our TV. I have to go find it. I usually get my stuff through podcasts or radio. So. And then I'll do my own research. But a lot of guys, it is a stressful job. It is stressful times as well, especially in our career in the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic.
Right.
Everything's been highlighted more and more. But if society's going to change, you're going to have to change, and you have to adapt to be in this career for a long time. Now they want the younger officers to serve 30 years to get a pension instead of 25. Now it's bumped up to 30.
Yeah.
So the PTS and stress that a combat vet may see within a short period of time of 6 to 9 months, they say that's going to be equivalent to, or they say that's equivalent to an officer, what he sees and deals with stress day in and day out for a span of 20 years. So it's just stretched out, the PTS and everything else. It's there. You're not seeing all good stuff. Day to day, you're seeing, not saying every day you're going to see a crime scene or something, but the stress of dealing with the public in a negative way because you're not getting, like I said before, you're not getting called to the people's best days. And you're solving them. So day in and day out, that just in itself can obviously add stress. But just try to find ways to prolong that and prevent it the best way you can, whether it be meditation, yoga, breathing exercises that we do teach, like the box breathing, resiliency training. It's small little things that can probably help relieve some stress at the moment.
Sure.
But don't be afraid to talk to somebody, find people. That's why we're set up. It's just we're not clinicians or anything. We're just peers, and we have shared experience, and we understand each other, and it's easier to vent to someone that understands. They can give you something, or they've been through something that you might be going through, and that's the power. Like you had said, you had a peer specialist. I'm not sure if you mentioned the power of peer-to-peer stuff, because we have older vets have been through those struggles. The Vietnam vets, that's where we're trying to learn from, is opening up and talking. It could have saved marriages, relationships, careers, if they've done things differently. So their experience to younger vets thinking like, hey, no one understands me. Like, yeah, I do understand you. I've been through this. This might help you, but you're not going to get that from a doctor. You're not going to get that from anyone else.
Great point, because somebody may not open up to a therapist, but but somebody who has similar life experience, they'd be more willing to have the conversation, or at least listen to what this person has been through.
Yeah, and that's powerful in itself right there. So seeking help, reaching out to people, don't be afraid if, hey, this is affecting me a little bit differently. Sure. Now you have kids, or you didn't have kids before, and I mean, you're going through emotional stages, ups and downs within your home life, and then you're going to work. So if you can balance that the best way you can, and having more guys aware of what's going on too. I think years ago we didn't have that. Now we have guys that see signs, symptoms of guys going through tough times, and they can pull them aside and stuff. And that's the important thing, is seeing other people as well as yourself, but others. Hey, so-and-so's not really been himself lately. We don't isolate him. We're going to talk to him. We're going to pull him aside. We're not going to call him out in front of a group of people, but there's a way to go about it. So I think just educating, keep advocating for the mental health stuff. And I say mental health in broad. That's everything. That's not just you're having extreme PTS and
you
know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it can be
get it
minute
off your
stuff.
chest.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
So small stuff like that, you feel so much better. Writing things down, that's been huge for me. Journaling, and even small meditation. I have to get back to it. I always have to remind myself. I do get away from it, but I'm like, why am I feeling a certain way? I'm like, why? Because I haven't been working out. I haven't been eating right. There's something that I haven't been doing. So we all have to keep each other in check. Yeah. And that's part of having your fire team, is keeping those guys, keep you in check as well.
John, you mentioned it earlier, but if somebody out there is looking for help or assistance from Recalibrate, or wants to be part of the team and give back and help others, what are some ways that they can learn more about Recalibrate and reach out?
Again, we're on social media, Instagram, Recalibrate USA, Recalibrate_USA. On Facebook, Recalibrate. We have a website, recalibrateusa.org.
There we go.
Like, org. That works. I think we took my phone number down there. For a while, my phone number was up there. That's a full-time job, fielding calls, and I'm like, I can't do this all the time because home life and work.
The John Roth hotline.
Yeah. I learned that the hard way, but there are ways, and we're always going to write back to you as soon as possible, within an hour or two max. But there's somebody that's going to reach out to you. If it's not just me personally, it's going to be one of our board members or someone that's involved with Recalibrate. Usually we try to stay in Ocean County because that's our resources. We know who to help and where to go to. Like I said, Ocean Mental Health Association. There's all these organizations that are good when it comes to that. But outside, we will do our best to reach out to them. And there's other, I'll give a shout out to Ma Deuce Deuce. There's another nonprofit that we work well. When it comes to veterans, keeping everybody within Ocean County, hey, so-and-so might need this. Okay. And that's what we do. We work as a team, help each other out, and see if we can tackle one problem or an issue, or help them deal whatever they're going through, pull through. So.
Excellent. John, thank you. That is
really
John Roth, founder and president of Recalibrate. John, thanks for coming in this morning and sharing your experience, both as a sergeant in the Marine Corps and your time as a Jackson Township police officer, and everything that you do with Recalibrate. I appreciate you. Thank you. It's been awesome actually talking about it since the last time we did, and hopefully in the next 4 years, we'll have another story. So we'll have you back before 4 years. Thank you again. Thanks again, John. More Short Time with Vin and Dave next.
Hi, this is high performance executive coach Dana Cavalier and former director of strength and conditioning for the New York Yankees, and you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. It's always great to hang with champions, and these two guys are champions.
Let's face it, investment concepts and financial planning can be very intimidating and confusing. Shoreline Wealth Management addresses that feeling head on. Their goal is to educate you while offering financial advice without buzzwords and jargon. Shoreline includes you in the process and makes you comfortable every step of the way on your path to financial freedom. Shoreline Wealth Management is your financial anchor. Visit shorelinewealth.com for more information today. Shoreline Wealth Management, with offices in Manchester and Manahawkin. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Welcome back to Short Time with Vin and Dave. Vin Avenue, Dave Crossan with you here at the end of the show, and a great show it was. A lot of deep conversations and everything. You know, I teased it last week, both guys with stories to tell from their past, and they're helping people now. Phil O'Hara, peer recovery specialist, talked to us about his battle with addiction and his journey to recovery and what he's doing now and the dangers out there now with drugs.
Right.
And then John Roth, who was a Marine Corps veteran, served in the Marines from 2007 to 18, has been a Jackson Township police officer for the last few years, and before that a Class 1 and 2 in Seaside Heights, and just talked about how his organization Recalibrate doing a lot for active military men and women who are transitioning to civilian life, as well as first responders out there in Ocean County. So just really impactful show today. Two guys that just loved having on today.
Well, you know what is the big takeaway from both interviews, great interviews, and really appreciate them taking the time and telling their story, is the ability for them to open up to other people that have been through similar events, similar things that took place in their life. Sometimes somebody might not be comfortable going to a therapist, but yet going to somebody that's been down that same road, similar experience, I felt that was powerful, and I appreciate them letting us know about those journeys.
And it happened sort of, I guess, accidentally, so to speak. But a couple weeks ago we had Alicia Cook on here,
right?
Talked about what it's like as a loved one watching another loved one battle an addiction, and even Coach Dana Cavalier on that show talking about mental health last week with Triada Stampis, with Phil and Alyssa Nico, the clinical social worker. It's, even today with Phil and John talking about the importance of mental health, and to your point, talking with like-minded people who get it. Maybe it's, feel as comfortable going to a therapist, but you find family member or friends, somebody in the community who gets it. Military, police, first responders, somebody who's battled a drug addiction. It's kind of all been a nice transition from one week to the next, and we're happy that we could help try and provide that to people out there who need it, because it's important.
No, I appreciate that. And it's the different takeaways from the different conversations, and especially today, just being comfortable. I think that's the big thing, is listening, and we're talking about the different conversations, and then maybe that one person you relate to in some way, or something that they said, having that conversation has to start somewhere.
Right. And this is a place, thankful we have this platform to be able to help everybody out there in Ocean and Monmouth County. Another way we want to do that as well, on future shows, and we'll get up an article as well, we want to help honor those first responders, military men and women, police, firefighters, EMTs, EMS, nurses, doctors. Let us know some of the first responders in your life, maybe family or friends, or just you are witness to a good deed, or to somebody going above and beyond, or just want to say thank you. Email us.
This is a great idea.
shorttime@townsquaremedia.com. Shorttime, SHORETIME @townsquaremedia.com. Let us know. And, we want to highlight sort of a hero of the week on our show and future shows. So let us know who the heroes are in your life, and we want to help recognize them on the show moving forward.
Perfect. No, definitely do that. That's a great idea for somebody who did something, doesn't matter what it is, that had an impact in your life.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the biggest story.
Right.
It could be the small things. You know what? Maybe
or you're aware
somebody helped walk in an elderly woman home.
There you go.
It could be rescuing somebody from a fire, or just walking somebody across the street. Or you know what? Maybe a police officer held the door for you. Something as small as that. So we want to help highlight the first responders in our Ocean and Monmouth County community. So definitely let us know on our app chat, and to shorttime@townsquaremedia.com. Send us an email. So we have another great show coming up next week as we begin the month of May, and we go into Jersey Shore summer. Both our guests next week will be telling us how we could live it up at the Jersey Shore this summer. I think that may be the best tease I've ever given on this show.
Well done.
We figured it out. I didn't have to think too hard on that one. So, Dave, have a great Sunday ahead.
Thank you.
Great Sunday to you all out there as well. Have a great week ahead. More Short Time with Vin and Dave a week from now. 94.3 The Point, 105.7 The Hawk, 6 to 8 a.m. every Sunday. We're out.
Good things.
Hi, this is Christy Pierce-Rampone, former U.S. women's soccer team captain, Olympic gold medalist, World Cup champion, and Point Borough High School alum. And you're listening to Short Time with Vin and Dave on 94.3 The Point and 105.7 The Hawk. Tune in for some real conversation with Dave and Vin. You don't want to miss this.